At this point, I would like to invite up to the stage Ms. Nelsa Brown of the Ralph Bunche Community Center, who's going to share her support for James.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You seniors can relate to that. When it's cold, your arthritis just kicks right on in. First of all, I'd like to thank my son, Raul, for bringing me. He and his sister took me off the road. You know how that is, seniors, I'm talking to you again. So, but God works in mysterious ways. I'm connected to the Morse because they have to chauffeur me around. So that's what they get for taking my keys away from me. But actually, I'm more than happy to be here today. You know, in life, you meet people you connect with instantly. As my children and my grandchildren would say, the vibes are there. I didn't know what vibes were until my 5-year-old great-grandson explained that to me. Okay, but now they say I overuse the word. I first met James Kitchin, Dr. James Kitchin, excuse me. I didn't know that. Through our county executive, Mr. Stuart Pittman. James was a great constituent service department director for our organization, the Ralph J. Bunche Community Center, located on Millswamp Road in Edgewater, Maryland. And Vincent, wherever you are, I don't want to leave you out. You're a great director also. Well, why was James a good director? Because he not only responded to our concerns, but you could feel that he cared about you, about the South County Community Center and the Ralph Bunche organization, and about us as individuals as well. When I was sick, he reached out to me, and we never have a conversation where we don't talk about something personal, which means to me he really cares. It's been my experience, if you really care about people, you care about their well-being, their children, their schools, their safety, their seniors, the disadvantaged, their health, whether or not they're hungry, and you care about the environment they live in. Talk is cheap, isn't it? Well, politicians come before us all the time, but they only come at election time. James and Stuart are always there, right, Vincent? Whenever I call, whenever we call, they respond. But they don't have to. They have other constituents. James has always been in our corner, and I thank you. He's been at some of our events. When he calls, he actually picks up the phone, even when he's at home on his own time. And he gets back to us promptly with some kind of an answer, even if it's not what we want to hear. And I love the fact that you've been a teacher. I've had that experience for about 5 years myself after I retired from the federal government. Thank God I'm not there now. Thank God, God is so good. He can identify with children, teenagers, and people in college. He knows about their needs, and he also listens to them. You know, children are not adults, but they do want to be listened to. You know, diversity may be a subject that's taboo for many in this political climate, but I'm happy to know that for James, it is not. Diversity is still very important to us, and it's important to him. I recently wrote a book titled Millswamp for the town, and it was titled for the town I grew up in. It's basically a series of short stories about, and the first story is about my precious daddy and one of the few short-lived joys he had while growing up in the Jim Crow era. Well, James took my little book to read on the plane during the Christmas holidays. And he called me afterwards and said, I read your book on the plane, but after I finished, I went back to the very first story about your father and the struggles of your people. So I had to read it again. Thank you, James. James really cares about us as a people and as a nation, more importantly. I feel deep in my heart that he has committed his life to doing his part to make our communities a great place to live and a safe place to live where our children can really thrive. And that is why I will support his campaign wholeheartedly. And I'm going to close with something that a little old lady said when Barack Obama was running for president and he was at the lowest of the low. She said, President Obama, future President Obama, we're all fired up and we're ready to go. So James, I'm all fired up. Took me a while to get up on this platform, but I'm all fired up. I don't know how far I'm going with you, but I'm ready to go wherever it is. And now I would like to introduce the next speaker, Martin Simon, who is the Crofton Town Manager. He just told me he used to be the president of the Community Association. He explained the difference. So Martin, come on up here.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is quite a turnout. This is fantastic. Nelsa, thank you. You were a tough act to follow, young lady. James, when I came in here today, I could not help but think about the last campaign kickoff event that I photographed. It was on a cold February day in Springfield, Illinois, 18 years ago, for a guy named Barack Obama. And things turned out pretty well for him, so I'm hoping to bring the same degree of luck to you. Well, as Nelsa said, I'm Martin Simon. I serve as the town manager just up the road here in Crofton. And for 25 years before that, I had served as the president of the Civic Association. So I have a long association. My family and I moved here 30 years ago. But I'm not here representing the CCA or Town Hall today. I'm here as a private citizen who happens to have lived across the street from the Kitchens here for the past 30 years. And while I didn't know James when he was a youngster, that's probably a good thing, because the way that I got to know a lot of Crofton's kids was through their run-ins with our police department. And James never made it on that list, right, James? So he was a good kid, right, Mom and Dad? In fact, since getting to know James back in 2017, I have frequently referred to him in public as Crofton's favorite son. And I believe he is truly deserving of that moniker. Back when James was considering a run for the county council, a mutual friend of ours suggested that we get together so I could give him my perspective on growing up in a political family. You see, my folks met when they both served in the Illinois State Legislature long ago, and my dad went on to have a 40-year career in elected office at both the state and national level. For us, campaigning was a family affair. Everybody got involved. And in my experience, it works best when everybody is all in. And everything I've seen about Lauren and Issa and Morgan here is that they are all in. Am I right, guys? Yeah? Yeah? They've been busy here this morning making Kids for Kitchen signs, which I think is fantastic. All right, so in that first get to know each other meeting that James and I had, I saw a young man committed to getting into public service for all the right reasons, and equally committed to finding that right balance between work and family. And while that first campaign didn't quite go as we had hoped, it did help to prepare him for this challenge ahead. I've come to know James much better over the past years through his work in Stewart's administration, doing constituent services, and James became our go-to guy for all things Crofton that involved the county. And boy, has he delivered. James helped us protect Crofton's front yard from unwanted commercial development. He helped us together as a community to purchase that property so it would ultimately be saved from development in perpetuity, as well as getting a forest conservation easement on that land, planting 1,600 trees out in Crofton's front yard. So he has been very productive for us these past 6 years. Stuart, I don't know if you remember this, but when you came to speak to our CCA General Membership meeting in 2019, as you and James were walking out the door, I said, keep an eye on this fella, because he may be a primary challenge for you in 22, which didn't happen, obviously, and I'm glad it didn't, because... I had to give him a promotion. But your partnership has done so much good for so many in our county. When James joined our CCA board recently as treasurer, he immediately impressed me with his quick study grasp of our somewhat unique special tax district budgeting processes. He has quickly become a leader on our board, offering thoughtful perspectives and solutions to a variety of problems that we have faced over the past year. In my 35-year career as a photojournalist, which is what I did before doing this, I work closely with hundreds of politicians around the country, in state capitals and down the road here in Washington, D.C. I can spot the fakes a mile away. But folks, James Kitchin is the real deal. And I am especially impressed by his embrace of the new public campaign finance system and his rejection of the big moneyed interests that have dominated our politics for too long. Y'all see this slogan behind me here? It says, "Your voice, our future." That was chosen very specifically because James is committed to listening to your voice, so together we can all craft our future going forward in this county. What do you think? Should we give it a try? Can we do this together? I'm gonna say your voice, and you all respond, our future, all right? Your voice, our future. Your voice, our future. Your voice, our future. All right, not bad, not bad. So folks, let's go out and pump that excitement into this campaign and propel James to victory as our next county executive. Thank you.